Hey there, I'm Evan Abnett, Chief Operations for U.S. Task, and just wanted to answer some questions. We've been getting a lot of questions in reference to the new firearms laws here in the state of Maryland regarding citizen wear and carry. So first thing is exemptions. A lot of people have been asking whether they have to take the 16-hour class. Some people don't have to take the 16-hour class, and those people that are eligible for exemptions would include prior police officers that left in good standing, prior retired police officers, prior corrections officers that left in good standing, current corrections officers and current police officers, as well as prior military if they left on an honorable discharge within the last 20 years. Otherwise, you will have to take the 16-hour class. HQL, which a lot of people think is some type of handgun permit, it's not. The only thing that is authorization to purchase a gun in the state of Maryland. So, in other words, you're going to have to get a handgun permit. If you have an HQL, you're going to have to take the 16-hour course if you don't meet one of those prior qualifications. Other things is, fingerprinting. So, a lot of people ask us whether they have to get two separate fingerprints, one for HQL and one for their handgun permit, two separate live scans. And a lot of fingerprint places have been telling them that they do have to get two separate live scans or two separate fingerprints. This is not true. I confirmed this with Maryland State Police last week during an online chat session. You only have to get one fingerprint for both. The only thing is that you have to apply for both within the 30 days that you obtain those fingerprints from live scan. Now, Florida, if you're filing for a Florida permit, it's going to be separate. In Florida, for your Florida permit, you're going to have to get two FBI, what's called FBI hard cards, or blue cards. You can obtain these online. There's a lot of different retailers that sell them as long as they're the official cards themselves or copies thereof. But you have to have a law enforcement agency to complete them. So it can't be some security company or some fingerprinting agency. It has to be a law enforcement agency. You're going to have to call around to find a law enforcement agency that will be able to fingerprint you for your Florida permit. Now, lots of these law enforcement agencies no longer have the blue cards because they've all switched to live scan. So make sure that you grab those blue cards before you go over there so you don't waste your time. When I was online at this meeting, there was a lot of firearms instructors Maryland firearms instructors on that meeting with the Maryland State Police to clear up some questions. Not all firearms instructors are made the same, obviously. So you have some with a lot more experience and some with much less experience. It only takes 40 hours for a firearms instructor to go out and take an NRA class and then apply for their instructor license to the Maryland State Police. Personally, I would be cautious about that. Also, there's a lot of firearms instructors that have some ego to them. They'll claim all kinds of silly stuff that they're prior SEAL and SWAT team and Kung Fu masters and all this other garbage. And I'm not knocking my competition. I'm just simply saying that you should really vet your firearms instructors. Personally, I would select a firearms instructor that's a prior police officer in the state of Maryland, not a federal police officer. A lot of these guys that are federal police, not knocking the federal police officers, but they don't have a lot of street time. They're guarding buildings or so on and so forth. So they really don't have a lot of street time on Maryland roadways conducting investigations and making firearms arrests. So it would behoove you to get a prior Maryland police officer that was assigned to road patrol for a while that knows how the laws work in the state. Also on this call, there were some silly firearms instructors. One guy asked that what happens if he's carrying his gun and he goes to the bathroom at Lowe's and the gun falls out of his holster and so on and so forth. I don't even know what to do with that. So I would just recommend again that you vet your firearms instructors. Make sure that they say they have the experience that they say that they have, and make sure you're not taking a firearms class from a jackass. Last but not least, open carry. There were some questions about if you get a handgun permit in the state of Maryland, whether you can openly carry it on your hip. That's not a good idea. Unless you're a security officer or a special police officer or something of that nature and have a handgun permit to that effect, and you're doing some type of security work or wearing a badge that designates that people can recognize you in that capacity, I don't think it's a good idea carrying your gun displayed on your hip. Number one, it can't cause, and there is something in the law that says that it can't cause reasonable apprehension to the general public. Number two is that tactically it's pretty unsound. The whole reason for a carry permit is so that you can essentially carry concealed, and therefore if a deadly force situation jumps off, such as an active shooter, you have the element of surprise in order to address that situation. If you're carrying openly, you're not going to have that element of surprise, obviously. Okay, if they can see that you've got a gun on you, maybe it's a deterrent to them, but more than likely, it's just going to make you a bigger target. Second of all, if you're not carrying a proper retention holster, and I'm not going to go into retention holsters on this video, but I would recommend that you carry at least a level 2 retention holster that will keep your gun in your holster. It can be easily taken away from you. A lot of police officers die from their own guns getting taken away from them and used against them. So, you as a citizen have a lot less tools on your tool belt, so to speak, in order to maintain handgun retention. So I would strongly suggest that you get a Class 2 holster and that you carry concealed. These are new laws for the state of Maryland in terms of citizens being able to carry in a concealed capacity in which they obtain their handgun permit. So don't ruin it for the rest of us. Don't be an idiot. You're not John Wayne. You don't need to strap a 500 to your hip and walk around. Get something that is good for personal defense of yourself or your family. And also bear in mind, last but not least, you're not a police officer. Okay, if you get a handgun permit, that doesn't make you a law enforcement authority. Don't intervene in situations that are non-life threatening. Again, the second you bring the second you arrive on the scene, there's at least one gun on scene, the one you have. So if you withdraw that gun from your holster, there's a big possibility that you may use it, or it may go off during a negligent discharge. So don't involve yourself in stuff that you shouldn't involve yourself in. And if you get in a situation that's a fisticuff situation or an argument over a parking space or something like that, just leave. It's just not worth your ego, it's not worth your effort, and it's certainly not worth 2 years of your life spending in court, and possibly 20 years or whatever it is behind bars if you make a mistake. So that's my video for today. Appreciate your time. Please like and subscribe, obviously, and we'll see you next time. Thank you very much.